Alrighty, guys. Good afternoon to you all. Happy January 2nd, 2025. Hope you guys are all doing well today. I do appreciate you guys for watching this. If you will share this out to as many people as possible, we are getting ready to cover a pretty significant winter storm as well as severe weather outbreak potentially this weekend down in the deep south. But if you guys will send that out to somebody as well as tap and like that heart button, I do appreciate you guys very, very, very much. We are going to go ahead and get into this. There will be a live stream later on this evening to cover and talk about what's going to be happening more in detail as we always do. But we'll go ahead and get into this now. If you guys can see on the water and on your screen here, we've got open upper level water vapor imagery. Basically what this shows us is where our systems are at. And currently right now, that low pressure that we were talking about yesterday that brought that severe weather on at New Year's Eve to the northeast, now officially exiting the viewing window. So no longer have to worry about that. We do have a little bit of a clipper system that's going to move through the Midwest and the Ohio Valley through tomorrow morning. Could see a couple snowflakes fly, maybe a dusting somewhere up here in the northeastern Ohio Valley, but nothing significant with that. Now on the left side of your screen is our next low pressure system. Not in visual view yet. You can see the wave, the short wave, or the long wave trough that's going to be moving in here. This is going to be basically what's going to be bringing our significant winter storm, and we already have winter storm watches in place for Kansas. I do expect ice storm warnings or ice storm watches and winter storm watches to be issued for Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and Kentucky as we go through tomorrow. So that's something to be very make note of. Once those watches come out, we'll talk more about that in detail tonight and tomorrow. Now, we are expecting a significant severe weather event to unfold on Sunday. That is going to be the southwestern quadrant of this upper level trough that'll be moving through. And you can see SPC still has that day 4 risk in place. This was a day 5 yesterday, a rare day 5. We typically talk about when we get these day 4 through 8 outlooks, when they issue that level 2 or higher risk zone, it basically signals significant severe weather on the way. And so we are going to still see that. And I would not be surprised if we actually get an enhanced risk zone upgraded somewhere in here. A lot of the CSU AI learning models have got a pretty decent enhanced risk or higher in some cases, depending on what the actual threats will be. I think this is going to be a damaging wind event with a QLCS tornado. Basically, what we get is a line of storms like we saw on Saturday last week that produces embedded tornadoes in them circulations, basically embedded supercells in a line of thunderstorms. So something we're going to have to watch very, very closely here on Sunday. We will be live covering this as much as possible. I do want to let you guys know me and Rochelle are in the significant icing scenario for Western Kentucky here on Sunday. So if we lose power and the stream drops, I can't help that, guys. This would be the first event I would miss in a very, very long time if that happens. And I'm hoping and I'm praying that that doesn't happen, but it's something that I wanted to let you guys know and just something to be very, very mindful of. So I do expect a pretty significant event to unfold on Sunday with winter storm coverage up north and severe weather down south. Once again, East Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, all of Mississippi, pretty much western Alabama, and now southwestern Tennessee, including the Memphis area in that level 2 out of 5 risk. So basically talking about a day, a damaging wind and QLCS tornado day. We'll get more into detail on that as that becomes available to us. Now, I do want to go ahead and talk about the troughing that we're going to be seeing right now. Currently, what we're seeing is what's called a zonal flow. A zonal flow basically kind of works like this. It's just a jet stream that streaks across the whole entire United States, what we call zonal. Now, as we go into the weekend here, what we're going to see is a strong jet streak that's going to go from the northwest to the southeast. This is going to allow for very cold air to be in place, as well as a little bit of a wind threat. We could see some gusty winds this weekend, potentially down in the Ohio Valley and southeast. What you're going to see is that low pressure system that's going to develop across the plains here on Saturday night into Sunday. Now, initially, this is going to be a negatively tilted trough. It'll come in as a positive, go neutral, and then turn negative. Negatively tilted troughs bring more, severe weather to the southeast down here in this corridor where we're seeing that potential for severe weather. And then we get that winter storm that's going to be up here in the Ohio Valley on the northeastern, where that cold air and moisture will be wrapped around the low pressure system. As we go into Sunday and Monday, we should start to see conditions deteriorate. We're going to see snow falling, heavy snow portions of Kansas, Missouri, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, and then ice down towards Missouri, southeast Kansas, possibly significantly into southern Illinois and western and central Kentucky. We'll go into detail on those amounts here in just a minute as well. But that trough will be moving through. A very, very strong trough here on to Sunday and Monday. That low pressure system will move east, and then it's off the coastline by next Tuesday. And then as you see on the left side of your screen, we should see another trough move through. And this could bring the threat for maybe still, and not even maybe at this point, it's becoming more and more likely that we're going to see some type of winter storm affect the far, far deep southeast next week as we go into the 7th and beyond of January. Now we're really starting to get concerned. The European model is starting to show this. The GFS has been showing this. The potential for a winter storm with snow in Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and down in the deep south is becoming more and more of a possible scenario. And we're going to talk more in depth on that tonight in the live stream. But I just wanted to get this out to you guys to let you guys know know that this will be a possible scenario as we go into the second week of January. That trough deepens, and then we get our very, very cold air that's going to basically come down out of Canada. All of this is going to be cold air. You have this jet stream that's what we call a vertical jet stream. This brings in a lot of cold air to aloft out of Canada. This is going to help aid in that winter storm that does potentially develop at some point next week. Then once that moves out, we should start to see, temperatures kind of rebound just slightly as we go towards potentially the middle of January. That is still to be determined, but we should start to see something change and maybe more of an above average trend as we go towards the end in third and fourth week of January. So something to make note of there. Well, like I said, we'll talk more in depth on that in the stream. This is going to give you guys an idea of where the precip could basically fall. We'll go over those snowfall totals and ice totals here in just a second, but precip starting as soon as Saturday night, Saturday morning there, we can see a lot of snow in the northern and central plains, ice and a wintry mix of sleet, snow, and ice basically developing in Kansas into Missouri as soon as early Saturday night into Sunday morning. Heavy snow basically coming across portions of the Ohio Valley there into the southern Ohio Valley. We have what's called a wintry, messy ice sleet setup, and then severe weather and rain to the south. Now, how far does that warm nose, that basically warm sector lift up here into the Ohio Valley, Kentucky area before that ice puts down? That could mess with accumulation totals. That's why these accumulation totals are not set and certain. We're kind of watching this storm shift just slightly north with the totals, which in my favor would be a good thing down here, but for anybody that is not in that, just something to be very, very mindful of. So that's why those totals haven't been officially announced. But then we get snow on the backside of that, and we should see some totals increase with snowfall. So we are expecting a pretty significant event. This could be one of the biggest events for the Ohio Valley in quite some time as far as ice, sleet, and snow. And then we get our system next week that's looking more and more possible. Snow in Texas, ice, sleet from Texas, Louisiana into the deep south here. And then, like I said, we'll talk about that going into the following week there. And then past that point, we start to get into what we take with a grain of salt on things. Now, one thing I do want to show you guys here is going to be the ice and the snow total runs here. This is going to be, a 10-to-1 ratio. So, not on the hyper high end of things right now, but this is just kind of in the middle here where we could see some of those totals there. We could see potentially up to a half a foot, maybe even to a foot of snowfall somewhere in this corridor here from Kansas to potentially West Virginia in the northern Ohio Valley. Now, where the ice becomes a problem is going to be down into Missouri, Kentucky, and portions of the northern Tennessee line potentially. And you can see those stronger amounts there. Anything over a quarter of an inch of ice can cause significant power outages as well as damage to roadways as well as tree branches, trees in general. When you get up to a half an inch of ice, you're talking about widespread issues. So it looks to be that there's going to be a pretty decent swath of a quarter of an inch to a half an inch and maybe even higher than that in some elevation areas, depending on where you are at. Now, if we go and we look at the European model run, just a little bit of shift in track, but we are going to show those ice totals here. We'll start to hone in on the short range models through tonight on stream, but you can see the European model really banking in on a significant icing event in the Missouri and Ohio Valley areas. And then the 10-to-1 snow ratio here, also potentially seeing a significant snow event anywhere from a half a foot to a foot. So we're starting to become more and more in a line. We're less than 72 hours away from this event. So getting to that point where we'll start to see those short models come in. Once we get the HUR and the NAM 3K and all these other short ranges in, we'll start to discuss those on stream tomorrow. But other than that, guys, if you are not prepared, start making the grocery store runs. This is that point in time where I start to advise people to do that. This isn't like panic or anything, but just be prepared. Make sure you have generators, all of that, etc. I will brief you guys tonight, probably around 7 p.m., 8 p.m. Central Time. That's kind of what I'm thinking about doing. And you guys can come in, ask questions. We'll get you guys up to speed on everything. But be safe, guys. Be weather aware, and I'll see you guys in the next one.